Due to recent YouTube updates, comments and likes have become more important than ever. I beg you to please consider doing exactly that. I read every comment that you write me and answer whenever possible and or need. I'm also open to suggestions for future content. My videos are created without the use of AI, so please support your fellow human content creator against clanker slop. Thank you.
Come on, come on, come on, you shouted, hand on the button to go to the next floor while Looey was running towards the elevator. Right behind him, 3 twisted ones chasing him. Things had gone sideways the moment the elevator doors opened. The entire floor was pitch black due to the fuse box being broken. A twisted Astro had seemingly been waiting before the opening, and as everyone scattered, it managed to get boxed on. Then the extractors on the floor were scattered to be as far away from the elevator as possible, it seemed. And finally, there just was a swarm of these things. The only upside of this place was the amount of hiding spots. There were a lot of warehouses, rooms, all allowing it to hide beneath the stocked shelves, and a bunch of employee lockers scattered about nonsensically. There was no real pattern to the madness on this floor. Just duck and cover, duck and cover. Become familiar with the terrain you were given and exploit it. It was a dance you were used to, but as the horde closed in on Looey, you grimaced. You activated one of your special abilities, Dead Sprint. It allowed you to exchange some of your health to boost your stamina. Gritting your teeth, you bolted out the elevator opening towards Looey. The Balloon Toon's eyes widened, not expecting this from you. You skidded around him and slammed your shoulder into his back, while your eyes caught the face of the floor's twisted Astro, all his 4 arms outstretched. Tongue lolled out, but thankfully, Looey was light. A heavy grunt escaped him as you pushed him ahead, and the both of you fell into the elevator, its doors closing. But then, in the last second, one of Astro's arms reached into the opening. You shuffled as far back as the elevator allowed, while Looey pushed himself into the right corner of the metal coffin. He looked at you with an unsure expression, while Astro's ichor-covered hand slapped exploratory around, his red glowing eye visible through the few inches of the door. Looey shuffled towards the exit, and then carefully reached for the button and clicked. Quickly he rolled it next to you as the elevator began moving. "This won't be pretty," you muttered loud enough for him to hear, and he nodded. The twisted claws groped wildly through the narrow slit, scraping the floor, swiping inches away from your shoes. On the other side, a single burning red eye stared in, locked on you and Looey. It didn't blink, it didn't move, it just watched. Hunger and fury searing from the gap, as if it could burn holes into you. Then the elevator shuddered. The floor lurched beneath your feet as the lift began to rise. The trapped arm jerked, slamming flat against the ground outside. You flinched at the sound, a heavy, meaty slap echoing up the shaft. A shriek split the air, high, guttural, and furious. The Twisted was being dragged upward with the elevator, its massive weight grinding against the metal track. The doors quivered with the strain, but they held. The arm stretched taut, joints bending the wrong way as the rest of the creature was yanked higher. You covered your ears, teeth clenched as the scream pitched higher, and then... crunch. The sound was slow and final. The arm tore free, severed clean, the shriek cutting off into silence. Scenes like this were normal in the garden view, but no two never truly got used to them. You slid down the elevator back, until your butt made a quiet bump, The arm was still twitching, and Looey kicked it away into the opposite corner. Okay, that wasn't fun, he said dryly, and you nodded. But you saved me, he said more energetically. And I'm already regretting it. You were Shazu, the cacophonous clown tune. And sure, the name was quite long. Shazu was perfectly fine. Similar to Looey, Blot, and Yada, you too were part of the circus-themed line of tunes, though you specifically weren't part of the main circus. You were a birthday clown, not a circus one. And because of that, there was an unspoken rivalry between Yada and you and Looey. Blot, not so much, as it seemed like you were the only tune in Dandy's world who didn't understand him, so you simply avoided him like the plague. You were a side character, often involved as an antagonist in episodes that included the circus cast. Though you were more of an irrelevant villain, meaning that all your tricks always backfired, and they backfired hard. No one even knew you tried to sabotage or prank the circus in the first place. That's where the true humor of your character came from. Elaborate traps and sabotage actions that always ended with you getting hurt, and no one being the wiser. You weren't like Shrimp, who was a one-trick tune either. There were plots where it was shown that you did struggle as a party clown with the circus tunes outshining you at all times. And some slice of life stuff where you were simply in the background of some episodes. You were a character of many faces, to the point where you didn't know your own feelings. Just one day you had really gotten into the character of the failing birthday clown and just never left it. You had peach-colored skin and cotton candy-colored shoulder-long hair. You wore a light blue party hat and had a big green nose and lime-colored eyes. Your cheeks were painted with white circles, and your lips were decorated with thick green lipstick. Your clothes were a simple sky blue dress with white polka dots and a rainbow-colored apron. From its pockets you could pull out magic tricks hung around your neck. And what appeared to be a white-gloved hands actually were full-on hands that you could pop off by pulling hard enough with a quiet plump. It allowed you to initiate extractions and leave the machine while the extraction itself continued. It was really handy when being hunted by Twisted. No, really, good job, Shazu! Looey, like everyone else, was unaware of your true feelings for him. I'll try. Looey chuckled, leaning against the elevator wall like he hadn't almost been balloon scraps. His ear sagged forward over one eye, tilted from when you shoved him through the door. He gave up trying to fix it and just smiled at you instead. Still, I owe you, he said, his voice tighter than it had any right to be. You sat back against the opposite wall, pulling your knees up, trying to look casual. Maybe, you answered, the word coming out softer than you intended. Your head tilted. That almost sounded like you were caring, you thought sheepishly. The lift rattled under your shoes, cables humming overhead. You risked a glance at the severed Astro arm twitching in the corner, but Looey didn't notice. He was too busy staring at the floor like he didn't quite know what to do with the silence. So you broke it first. You kept going even when you were about to get caught. You said. That's gutsy, I suppose. Your head tilted. That was so cheesy. Why did you say that? You thought. Looey blinked, then laughed softly. Gutsy? Nah. Just as stubborn to die. You fell with the hem of your polka-dotted dress, eyes drifting to the floor. The elevator clanged and rattled around you, each shudder making the severed arm twitch in the corner. Looey's laugh lingered in the air softer than you expected, like he'd forgotten about the monsters waiting below. You tilted your head,
He laughs too easily. Is he really that carefree?
You thought, annoyed. Still, you found yourself smiling back.
Stubborn just really suits you, I suppose,
you said, forcing your voice to stay playful. And then your head tilted again.
Why are you complimenting him?
You thought sheepishly to yourself. Looey rubbed the back of his head, balloons bobbing faintly with the motion. Stubborn is one word for it, he mumbled, but there was a faint pink in his cheeks now. You caught it immediately and your heart flipped before you could shove the feeling down. The silence stretched again, heavier this time. You didn't like it. You're supposed to be the noisy one, or he was too. So he let your hand pop off with a little plop, dangling it in front of him with a grin.
Souvenir?
You teased, pressing the glove into his lap. His eyes widened before he snorted. Gross! I'm not keeping your hand. He tossed the hand back at you, the glove bouncing off of your chest with a dull thump. You caught it awkwardly, fumbling before popping it back into place with another quiet plop.
See if it's perfect every time,
you said with exaggerated swagger. Your head tilted.
That was the dumbest line ever.
You thought. Cheeks warming up. Looey shook his head, a chuckle slipping out as he leaned back against the elevator wall.
You really are something, Shazu.
The way he said your name was casual, like it belonged to him more than anyone else. You didn't like that. Or maybe you did. You tilted your head again.
Stop sounding so soft. I'm supposed to hate this,
you thought bitterly. But instead of snapping back, you edged closer, not enough for him to notice right away, but enough that your shoulder brushed his when the elevator jolted. He flinched at the contact and laughed under his breath. Guess that makes us even. You saved me, I stopped you from falling over. Your head tilted.
That wasn't even a smooth line. But why did my heart skip?
You thought, annoyed to yourself. The elevator once again rattled as it climbed, a faint hum in the silence. Looey shifted his weight, fiddling with the edge of his sleeve before muttering,
You know, I'm actually quite terrible with crowds,
he said suddenly. His voice was low, almost embarrassed.
Doesn't make sense, huh?
Balloon tune, supposed to be loud, fun, center of the show.
But when everyone looks at me, I just want to freeze up. Every time.
You blinked when you were caught off guard. Why are you telling me this, you thought?
This was never something you'd expect from him.
He kept his eyes fixed on the floor, then risked a glance at you.
It's just you don't do that,
he said plainly. Not with me around. You just keep going, like it doesn't bother you.
You even saved my life just now. I just don't know how to do it. How you do it. How anyone does it.
His lips twitched into the smallest grin.
I admire that.
Your chest tightened. A rush of warmth spread across your face before you could fight it off. You tilted your head, biting back a laugh that came out thin.
Stop blushing. Stop blushing. He just said something nice, that's all. Stop blushing.
You forced yourself to hold his gaze with a crooked smile, but failed. You just shyly started to stare at the floor. At least until the ichor puddle from the severed arm started reaching your cone of vision. And with a loud eek, you jumped up. Quite literally jumping into Looey's arms. Your arms clung around his neck as he cockily smiled down at you. Scared of a little ichor? He teased.
No!
Pouting, you muttered.
Just a little surprise is all.
His fingers tapped against your tensed up body. but when he motioned to put you down, your face flushed red. "I did not say to put me down, balloon face!" He blinked, inhaled through his mouth a little, but then chose to not say anything. And Looey didn't move right away. His big balloon hands hovered uncertainly against your back, like he couldn't decide whether to hold you or not. You refused to let go. That will make it look like you were embarrassed, and you definitely weren't. You definitely were, though. Fine. "You're the boss, clown face," he said finally, his grin curling as if he knew exactly how tense you were. You puffed up your cheeks. "You're the clown face." It sounded weak the moment it left your lips. You tilted your head, muttering under your breath, "Why do you even say things like that?" Looey chuckled. The sound was warm, annoyingly warm, and it buzzed against your ear where your face was still buried. "You do have more guts than me," he said softly. "Running out there, dragging me in here. I couldn't have done that. Now you're just jumping into my arms." Your stomach flipped. You hated how it flipped. You wanted to say something sarcastic, something sharp, but all that came out was a faint, "Well, someone had to." He leaned back just enough to look at you, those lime green balloon eyes bright and too close. Those lime green clown eyes bright and too close. I mean it. He purred quieter now. "I don't think I've ever seen you scared." Your throat tightened. "Scared? You?" The puddle of ichor that was still creeping closer to his shoes, and your whole body was clinging to him like a lifeline, but sure, let him think that. You tilted your head, lips twitching. "Stop blushing. Why are you blushing? It's just a compliment. Stop blushing." He didn't let go. Neither did you. The rattling hum of the elevator filled the silence until it felt too heavy to bear. "Looey," you started, though you had no idea where you were going with it. And then he just closed the gap. His lips pressed clumsily against yours, light at first, as if testing if you'd pull away. And you didn't. Your chest rose sharply, heat rushing up your face, but your hands only clung tighter around his neck. The kiss deepened just a little, awkward and warm. Your mind was a buzz that drowned out everything else. The broken lights, the ichor on the floor, even the ache still burning in your legs, none of them seemed to matter now. All that existed was the softness of his mouth and the dizzy weight of being held this close. You tilted your head just slightly, caught between wanting it to stop and never wanting it to end. His breath mingled with yours, shallow and shaky, and you felt the nervous flutter in his chest against your own. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't practiced, if anything it was clumsy, but maybe that's what made it more fun. The elevator hummed and rattled beneath your feet, but you barely noticed. His fingers twitched against your back, and hesitant, like he wasn't sure if he was allowed to hold you tighter. You gave the smallest squeeze around his neck, and there was enough. His arm stayed at you, pulling you just a little closer, until you could feel every shaky inhale between the two of you, and then, ding! Unceremoniously, the elevator door opened. Your eyes wide with horror as you reached Andy's shop. The flower toon stared at the two of you with a big grin and said, "Well, should I give you two a room?" You blinked. "What the hell does that mean?" Hey, you reached the end of the video. That makes you part of an exclusive club. Our secret password is Cheap Thrills.
Put the secret message in your comment below to tell fellow members you watched the video until the very end. Lastly, before I say goodbye, I would normally shout out my channel members. However, due to losing monetization, I currently do not have access to both channel memberships as well as a list of previous channel members. Nevertheless, I'm eternally grateful to the channel members I used to have, and in the case memberships get reinstated, I hope I'll see you again. Thank you for watching.